Dudes, my dudes. Dude, I wrote a book. I wrote a freaking book. It's called Ruin. It's by author Brandon Berryhill, which is my name, by the way. I think I've mentioned it in other videos, so it's not exactly surprising. I'm just letting you all know that I wrote this book. It's an awesome book. I actually wrote it a few years ago, and we've been sort of fine-tuning it, making it more awesome, and I think it is more awesome. And now it's on Kickstarter, and it actually has quite a bit of funding, and turns out a lot of people want to read this book, and you should too. So if you haven't checked it out, I actually have a link in the video. But that's not why I'm making this video. I'm actually making this video because I'm going to give you some really cool advice. I'm going to tell you how to lose 20 pounds in 1 minute. It's only one step, too. Well, it's 2 steps. Step 1. Hold on. All right, see this here? This is a war axe. Step 1, get yourself a war axe. If you can't get a war axe, well, find something that's very sharp and heavy in which to slaughter your enemies with. I'm not handling this weapon correctly because I'm shaking it at the camera. Freaking. But yeah, this is a war axe right here. Now, that is Mr. Worf. He has nothing to do with losing 20 pounds in 2 minutes, but that's him up there. So if you're wondering who that is. All right, so you take your war axe or otherwise heavy, sharp object, and you just chop off your freaking leg. 20 pounds lost. You're welcome. You don't have to pay a subscription. Goodbye. Okay, fine. Not goodbye. I just realized I did this whole cool spot about my awesome book, which is the best book ever written by me. The only book ever written by me. And I totally forgot to tell you what it's about. So here it is. It's a book about the world of Ruin. It's about a guy named Jim. Just sort of your average Joe guy. You know, typical hero's journey stuff. And he's just a regular guy surviving out in the waste. Think like the Mariner from Waterworld, except obviously there's no water. It's really quite dry. And he's doing his own thing, traveling. He kind of sucks at his job. He's sort of reached the end of his rope. And just when he's on his deathbed from starvation and cannibals and all kinds of cool stuff, he discovers a really cool secret power within him. We call it awakened power in the book. If you've ever seen, I mean, any magic story, I guess you could sort of connect it. But their powers based on the elements. So obviously, you know, you might say, oh, that's a trope. Well, I mean, everything's a freaking trope at this point, right? Like, how original can you be when every sort of magic, every sort of idea has been made? But I think it's a really unique, cool, special, one-of-a-kind world. It's a desert-type world with all sorts of interesting characters. But most importantly, my personal favorite thing, which inspired me to write the book in the first place, airships. I love airships. I think they're super cool. I realize they're impractical in real life, but steampunk isn't about real life. It's about fantasy and about really great art and things like that. So if you can see on the screen here, I've got Captain Alia, who's the secondary character in the book. And you heard it here first. Her last name, Rykis, is actually an anagram of Christy, which is my wife's name. So it's sort of a shout out to my awesome wife who puts up with all my shenanigans. And in the middle there, you see someone using an awakened ability called Firewall. You'll get to see that in the role-playing game. We're actually we're doing a session of the role-playing game tonight. It won't have awakened power in it, but if you're interested in watching tabletop RPGs, I definitely recommend checking it out. There to the right, that's the first drawing ever of the Liberator. There's actually a newer, much cooler one, which is on the Kickstarter page, which I will link for you. And then, of course, the bottom right is the original cover of my book when I released it on Amazon. Now it's actually going through Kickstarter and through a publisher because I got picked up by a publisher. Woo! And yeah, so we got a whole new cover coming. It's way cooler than the one you're looking at down there. And the one that comes through Kickstarter includes all kinds of crazy cool stuff like an art book. Well, this depends on which tier you're with, but if you get the high enough tier, it includes an art book. It includes the supplemental tabletop RPG, which is sort of a single mission scenario-based version of the RPG. It's not the full campaign RPG. I'm working on that one and testing the campaign style of it with some friends and randoms. It includes, I think, a bookmark, digital version, even includes soundtrack. We have some original soundtrack material written just for the book. So it's not really a book as much as it's a multimedia experience. Now, I love to read. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But somewhere along the line, someone stops printing and putting in pictures in books. Why is it that they say adults can't have pictures in their books? Like, I like pictures. I love illustrations. I think they're beautiful and awesome. Why is it when I go to read a 100,000 word novel, there's maybe the cover art and maybe a map or some random sketch in the middle of the book? Like, if I'm reading a book, I want to see pictures too. I like pictures. So when I wrote this book, that is exactly what I did. I put a heavy emphasis on the visual aspect of this book because I like to read and I like to see the world imagined through the eyes of an artist. In this case, the artist's name is Brandon Ellis. He's drawn all these pictures here, but the actual book is going to have something like 100+ images with it. And this is just volume 1 of the book. There's 3 volumes coming out. So when that finalizes and the 3rd volume is out, we're going to have something like 300+ pictures in the book, most likely. And that's incredible. How many full-size 100,000 word novels? It's not 100,000, it's a little bit bigger, but how many full 100,000 word novels have you read that have 300+ illustrations in them and aren't a freaking National Geographic map book or something like that, right? So this is going to be a really unique, cool book. I'm really excited for it, especially because I just lost my job a couple weeks ago, and this is sort of my only source of income now. So I'm really excited for this. I'm pushing hard for it because I want as many people to read it as possible. If you're still at this point in the video, you must be a fan because I have been rambling on, and I realize I'm not the most amazing, entertaining YouTube personality, but I appreciate that you made it this far in the video, 7 or 8 minutes. And I am going to be putting out more videos again, including tonight's tabletop RPG session. So if you want to sit down and watch that, just keep in mind it is not identical to the RPG that's shipping with the book. The one that's shipping with the book is much easier to use. I'm using a way complicated, crazy version of it that we aren't going to throw at new players because it's a bit much for them. The one that comes with the book is very simple and cool. And not simple in quality, but simple in execution. You can learn it in a day and play it. But if you want to see some of the lore, see some of the universe, and learn some more about it, I'll see you guys tonight. And if not, well, if you're just here because you want to learn how to lose 20 pounds, I just showed you how to do it. So, get shopping, guys. And I will talk to you all later. See you on the next video.